Alright guys, so this one's been in the works for a while. Just needed to get time to be able to do this video basically, but I think I'm gonna title this something along the lines of like the downfall of Tyler Deveraux and multi-man or multi-family mindset. Um, because it's just kind of crazy what's coming out about this company. So a little bit of backstory. A couple weeks ago, on Baller Busters, there was a video of this woman who was talking about her experience, okay? Very similar to what I've talked about in my previous video on this, which is you go to a seminar, which largely all the Trustpilot reviews, which we'll get into Trustpilot here in a second, but largely all those Trustpilot reviews were based off of the seminar that they went to, which is a cheap little 1, 2, 3 day thing, where you're then ultimately pitched a $40,000 product, coaching education, um, which ultimately in that pitch is like, you're going to get all this help, you're going to get all this support, you're going to make this deal, make that deal, you're going to have all this ROI. And ultimately, we all know at this point in the stage, I mean, it's 2025, these guru courses have been out for about a decade now. So most of us know that these results just aren't often real. Um, and often like way overinflated, and then just all this crazy stuff. We basically like the jigs up with a lot of these programs. This one no different. So multifamily mindset. This lady she goes and explains in her video what she's trying to get a lawsuit put together for, which it already looks like, as I'll show you guys later, that there is already a lawsuit active by one of the ex-employees or ex-partners of the company. Which, reading off of the complaint and the filing that I saw, there's some very similar things that I understand where this guy is actually coming from, surprisingly enough. Um, that said, yeah, multifamily mindset's just this course that's like, hey, do all these seminars and then buy the program and you'll invest, and when you invest, you'll make money, blah, blah, blah. Just your stereotypical real estate course. You have a guru with now an overinflated sense of ego, thinking it's largely just because of him that the success happens now. I've seen this a lot in coaching programs because I've been around the block a couple times, but there are entire teams of people behind these faces, which Tyler Deveraux is just a face at this point for his own company. But there are plenty of gurus just like him where they will have all the success because you'll have A team players behind the scenes doing most of the work 24/7, locking themselves up in their house as they're doing all the marketing for the company. But then the face of the company thinks it's just him. He's forgetting about everything that happens behind the scenes, which is just funny because that's where the downfall comes, right? It's like the ego gets involved. If you check out their YouTube channel, again, like very, professional looking, like he has a professional team behind the scenes handling a lot of this, but who knows how much longer that's actually going to last. I mean, this video alone is 3 years old. Most of these videos are old. I think he's basically having to, and even now, like look at these, a year ago, only a couple hundred views here and there. Not nearly as big as one would think, right? So that said, I wanted to step over and address some things real quick because, and we'll step over to Trustpilot. Basically, Trustpilot is a tool now used by many of these gurus because of Trustpilot's own marketing. Like, if we go over here, we'll look and they'll say, oh, yeah, a company is on Trustpilot, can't offer incentives or pay to hide any reviews, yada, yada, yada. Well, the thing is if you're actually a paying customer to Trustpilot, which these people are, you do actually have that capacity to, get away with certain things that they kind of mentioned here. So the integrity of Trustpilot, I think, is kind of gone on the downtrend because you have to think of it from their business interest perspective. They want a platform that, like this is a claimed profile, right? So since this profile is claimed, that means that multifamily mindset's gone to Trustpilot. They've entered into business together because multifamily mindset has to pay Trustpilot for the different features and stuff on the website, on the reviews, so they can largely get away with, some not so honest things here and there. And again, I've told this to you guys about reviews before, but it's like these like short ones and stuff. When you're looking at all these reviews, most of them are referencing the seminar, which someone pointed out in my video. They're not referencing the actual coaching side of the company itself, just the hype seminars to drive sales. It's all about perception with these types of people. And that said, like 565 reviews, like it seems like a lot, but it's a lot of bloat. There's just a big name behind Trustpilot. However, you go over to the Better Business Bureau, you'll see like they're not accredited. You'll see all their, business info here. They have an F rating, failing to respond to a complaint against the company, and then 3 other complaints weren't actually resolved. And then when you click here, so in February 2024, the BBB contacted the business regarding advertising concerns. Again, this is getting into kind of false, misleading advertising here, right? So leading experts in multifamily mindset real estate investing. Multifamily Mindset's an education company that has trained thousands of new and seasoned investors to acquire multifamily properties, maintain a positive growth mindset, and live a rich, full life. To date, the business responded but did not provide substantiation. Going through their code of like their principles there. If advertisements which are untrue, misleading, deceptive, fraudulent, falsely disparaging competitors, or insincere offers to sell shall not be used. An advertisement as a whole may be misleading by implication. Again, so many of these gurus, this isn't just a multifamily mindset thing. This is a lot of programs out there. Definitely imply get rich quick, which is something that the FTC themselves are generally working on right now to kind of, do away with this industry with kind of like one fell swoop. But yeah, failure to respond, 17 complaints against the business, advertising issues. It just kind of goes crazy. So then I just decided to do some digging. I knew that one lady had mentioned her lawsuit, which I don't know how that's going. I know she's trying to gather up a whole bunch of different people for her lawsuit because it's kind of a consumer side of things. The other thing that's going on right now is one within the company itself. So this guy, Ryan Woolley, basically used to work for, still kind of works for, there's all this arbitration that's kind of still going on in this case, because it is ongoing as of April 11th, 2025, but this got started, I think it looks like back in June. So basically this guy, Ryan Woolley, as it states, and I mean, I resonate with this guy on a lot of levels with how it's kind of gone down, because here's the thing with these coaching companies, because I have a history with them myself, and maybe there's going to be a story about that on a later date. Who really knows at this point? We'll see. But you have the face of these marketing companies, like you see all the events, you see all the glitz, the glamour, the cars, the houses, like you see all this crazy stuff. But like that's just kind of the marketing. There's whole entire lives that go on behind the scenes. There's like an actual company that goes behind the scenes. It's not like this crazy passive income life that's like preached about on social media. It's like it's a legitimate company with legitimate employees, people, like operations. And so this guy, Ryan Woolley, he was the manager of collections, it appears. And he basically is kind of speaking out about just the mismanagement of everything in the company. And then this document, which I think I'll go ahead and drop down below, where you guys can see the URL and you guys can pause it and go to it as well. But you see all these acts of retaliation, defamation, like unsubstantiated allegations against this guy Ryan. But you have detailed pieces showing like Tyler basically not being the same as he is on camera. I guess would probably be the softest way to say that. Because who knows if this video is going to have an attempt to have it taken down too. Because these guys, there is really no bounds to these guru types when it comes to hiding the truth. And they know certain people who can disappear certain things off the internet. So we'll see how long this stays up. That said, it's like in 2024, the principal place of business was moved from Florida to Nevada without the plaintiff's knowledge. So this is without Ryan's knowledge. Deveraux believed that he was the sole reason for MFM's financial success. He became increasingly abusive towards employees, students, and even Woolley. On several occasions, Deveraux insulted staff members, creating a hostile working environment, resulting in employees leaving MFM. So here's the other thing too. All these coaching companies that have been built up, like I said earlier, with those A-team players, all those A-team players now are quitting and moving on, Yours truly being one of them. I've seen the backside of everything. I know how this stuff works. And when you screw over good people, stuff like this eventually happens. Woolley just happens to have a bit more money than yours truly over here. So at one point, after Deveraux verbally attacked Woolley during a meeting, Woolley had a physical reaction, which he initially believed was him having a heart attack. After he went to their human resources department about the conduct, it was made clear that MFM had no ability to control or even correct Deveraux's conduct. And, he is the owner of the company, right? So it makes things increasingly difficult. But yeah, so it says, despite Woolley's love for MFM and his desire to continue making the company very successful, Woolley could no longer physically, mentally, or emotionally endure Deveraux's abuse and Miller's total indifference to Deveraux's immature and volatile conduct. So basically, it's like if you think there's kind of like three heads here of the company. You have Deveraux, who's the face. You have this Miller guy who's like kind of like the manager of like operations. Then you have Woolley, who's over here basically in charge of making sure the money is collected. So when you have those three pieces and there's one of them speaking out, it ultimately becomes a greed / every man for himself kind of thing. But obviously you guys can see here, like there's a lot to cover here. But this company is by no means perfect. And I think lots of stuff is going to continue to come out. That's probably why, again, you don't see as many YouTube videos as you were seeing before. It's just going along. I think there's lots of stuff going on behind the scenes because of failures from an advertising perspective, marketing, fulfillment. There's just been a whole lot of letdown and, confusion. Again, Trustpilot, I wouldn't really trust, ironically, pun intended, them as much because you can, as a company, like you're paying them, like Trustpilot then has the incentive to keep you paying them money, so they're not going to let your company ever look totally bad, right? Like how many programs have I covered on this channel where it's like I use Trustpilot and you'll see a whole bunch of great reviews here, but then on the BBB or Reddit where there's actual conversations from actual people who have actually been in the program, notice what I'm saying there, showing you how bad it actually is. It's their own personal experience. It's not short little one-liners, two-liners like this one right here. So it looks like things are getting interesting. I think largely the coaching space, guru space, is well on its way to getting blown up entirely. That said, not every single guru out there is bad. Not every single program doesn't work. I've had friends make it with e-commerce stores. Just recently I learned a friend of mine had an FBA store, though he's looking to get out of it, sell it, because it's just becoming more hassle than what it's worth, but he made some killer money during COVID with it. But it's like you can make money online. You're just often not going to find it from the dudes who are advertising on Facebook or have hundreds of thousands of followers on social media, YouTube, Instagram. Like, you're not going to learn it from those guys. You're going to learn it from the guys who aren't actively marketing it, aren't actively paying for advertising. And one of the guys that does that really well is someone I'm partnered with. But before we get into that, the business side of things here is basically this thing called lead generation. Now, we just redid this website, gave it a little bit of a facelift. We went over to Hostinger instead of Weebly. Just took the same content, moved it over, just because Hostinger is actually pretty cheap. So I'd recommend you guys looking into them for hosting and buying your website domain and all that stuff. It's much cheaper than Weebly, and I think having been in there myself, it's a better platform to use than even like Wix, which is like traditionally drag and drop. That said, lead generation, all you basically do is you build this website, you rank it on Google, which generally takes like 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the competition in the space. And then you pass off those leads to a contractor who fulfills the work and then pays you a finder's fee for it. I do it not only for this site, but I've got a plumbing site. I just recently built a couple concrete sites for a friend of mine. So it's always great for, like, passive income. Not going to make you rich, but is it going to be like supplemental income that you can actually like kind of depend on month to month, whether that's $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 extra? Absolutely, because I do it all the time, and I have a lot of conviction in saying that. And then if you want to just kind of get more information on it, go ahead, check out this link. I'll have it for you down in the description below. But basically, this guy, his name's Shiv, he goes over everything for you. And if you have any questions, just reach out, let me know. But hopefully you guys found this video helpful, shed some light on some things, and I will see you in the next one.